An unexpected coincidence of the timing of this launch is that it comes just as those who go to church or work in church are trying to figure out what church will be like as we emerge from being online for over a year. And many of us will go back to our spaces and places of worship. And in this time, we're being invited, not just by this little book, but by history itself, to look at our worship spaces and patterns with a fresh eye. So, with that in mind, I'm going to offer this excerpt from the book. And it's about that part of the liturgy that's called the offertory. The what? The offertory. This is on page 30 to 33 of the book. Ready? I talk about the offertory procession, and I say that it provides an opportunity for the congregation to engage and to move. I talk about the Bishop of Haiti. The Bishop of Haiti cannot visit St. Innocent's Church and School in Tikotlet on La Gonave Island very frequently. Members of the congregation can wait for years to be confirmed. Only those who've been confirmed by the bishop are allowed to receive communion. Because of this, the not yet confirmed tend to leave for home after the offertory, and the offertory procession becomes the high point of the liturgy for them. It's like a crescendo. Not one, but half a dozen different choirs present their best to God. A children's choir with some children younger than 5 years old includes a solo by a girl who's no more than 10. The teenage boys are next, smiling and nodding to the choir of teenage girls that will follow. The adult choir keeps it going with more than one song in their repertoire. And while the choirs sing, the people come forward, dancing and sliding and clapping and singing along. A girl and her mother carry a basket of eggs. Another household brings tomatoes. A small boy carries a live chicken and ties it to the leg of the chair that has been placed in front of the altar. Some put coins in a plate, and everyone moves their bodies, claps their hands, smiles, and laughs for more than half an hour. What a contrast this is to the representational offering so familiar to mainline Protestantism in the Episcopal Church and the Episcopal Church. The rubrics of the Book of Common Prayer, page 361, read, representatives of the congregation bring the people's offerings of bread and wine and money or other gifts to the deacon or celebrant. The people stand while the offerings are presented and placed on the altar. Once again, the congregation is placed in the role of observers rather than participants, witnesses, witnessing the collection of each one's ministry as part of the collections going forward. It's formative, yes, but how could the formation be made more robust if the representatives of the congregation were the whole congregation? What if, instead of sitting and passing a plate, the people came forward with their offerings, as is the practice in the churches of Haiti and parts of Africa and many Baptist churches in the United States? What if, in addition to money and checks, the people of the church brought food for the hungry and food for the fellowship meal that follows the service? Imagine people coming forward, young and old, hearty and infirm, each offering themselves as well as gifts from the many resources they have been given to share with the church or with God's people in need. The offertory sentence is that part of the rite when the celebrant invites the people to prepare for the Eucharist by giving something of themselves to God. Again, the Book of Common Prayer, page 376, provides several options taken from Scripture, such as ascribe to the Lord the honor due his name, bring offerings and come into his courts. That's Psalm 96, verse 8. Or walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself for us, an offering and sacrifice to God. That's Ephesians 5, verse 2. These sentences are offered by the presider at the end of the announcements, if announcements have been inserted here, and before the offertory song, hymn, or anthem is sung. But there's so much more that could be said or offered in print. Carefully repeating the same words Sunday by Sunday so that they become internalized, the presider or the printed service guide could say, the liturgy continues with an offertory procession. You're invited to come forward from the waters of baptism, pointing to a baptismal bowl or pool, to the altar, remembering that the most important thing you can give to God is yourself. Sorry. The most important thing you can give to God is yourself, your soul, your body, your mind. And you can symbolize this offering with a simple nod or a solemn bow as you approach the altar. And as you have gifts from the many resources God has given you to share with the church or with God's people in need, I invite you to leave those at the altar as you pass by. The offertory includes a hymn. It's lengthy. I know it's lengthy, but it is an introduction to a stewardship of self and of resources that encourages the people to move and to put their bodies into worship. Connecting the offering with the offertory hymn or anthem clarifies that as well as ourselves and our resources, we give our voices to God. A choir, if there is one, offers their voices on our behalf. From the beginning, the Advocates Offertory has included food for the local Interfaith Council food pantry. It's not that this serves as an end to our contributions to the wider community, but rather as an expressive and formative symbol. We give a bag of beans in the liturgy. If we give a bag of beans in the liturgy, we will be formed in the practice of giving to the world. A man carries a canvas bag full of groceries for the local food pantry, while a child carries a single can. A parent stops at the baptismal bowl and teaches his daughter how to dip her fingers in the water and cross herself, saying, "Remember that you are baptized." Some toss a rumpled dollar bill into the basket, while others carefully place a neatly folded check. One after another, the people bow. Self-conscious, some offer just a kind of a quick sideways nod as they brush past the altar. Others stop and take a deep and solemn, bend at the waist kind of bow. A nonagenarian moves slowly, as does a man long crippled by a stroke. Their bows seem somehow even more reverential, showing a respect for the God who has been with them through it all, and garnering the respect of those who bear witness. A diaper-bearing toddler does a deep knee bend squat, rising to a stand again with an alacrity that astonishes anyone over the age of 50, and turns to look for his mother. This offering of ourselves, our souls, and our bodies, as well as our resources, it takes time. That is not as much as the offertory in Haiti, but is more than a 4-verse hymn or even many choir anthems. It's time well spent, though, for this time is used to teach and to help the people of God to become the people of God. At the offertory, we present our gifts, our very selves to God, offering all to be received, blessed, and transformed. Bring the offerings of your lives and come into God's courts. That's my excerpt.